Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about my best ways for learning and getting better as an entry-level photographer, and that can be getting better technically or getting better as a business in this realm that we call photography. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Sergio and I'm a commercial photographer here in Victoria, BC. And I've been shooting a little bit over 10 years now, and I've definitely done a lot of things that have helped me throughout my career to get to where I am today. Most photographers that you come across, that you see, didn't just happen. Nothing that we have, nothing that we've achieved, nothing that we've done, none of it has happened because we weren't trying. Maybe sometimes we get a little lucky, but for the most part, it's because we put that effort in and we put that work in order to make sure we don't make the same mistakes again and again. So I think one of the things that's the most important to do as an entry-level photographer is to find those working photographers in your area and assist them. Now I know that photography for the most part is something that you have no rules in, and you shouldn't have to follow someone else's blueprint because your career path is going to be way different than someone else's career path. But I do think that there's a good amount of overlap and a good amount of things that you can learn from the photographers of yesteryear and photographers from pre-internet, pre-social media days. And that would be just to assist and to be physically in the same room as someone who's just doing what you want to be doing, but a few years ahead of you. And sure, you don't need to necessarily be an apprentice for a photographer because you probably know how to shoot by now, but you'll still learn and pick up a whole bunch of little things that you just can't Google or YouTube or find in a search bar. When you're working physically with someone, you'll pick up little nuances that you didn't even think about asking, and you'll realize that, oh, that's how they do that kind of thing, or that's how they approach a certain problem, or when this happens, oh, they creatively think of a solution in order to achieve what they want to achieve. More often than not, as photographers, we're making do with what we have. We're making the best of a situation. And it's not necessarily we have everything at our disposal and it's just a matter of that's the absolute greatest thing that we could have achieved. No, that's probably just what we were able to make out of what we had, making the chicken soup out of chicken you know what I mean? If you're just starting out, you might not have access to these bigger shoots or larger productions, and it's nice to just be in the room with these people and learn from what's happening. Okay, so sorry about that. The microphone went against my chest and the audio was completely unusable for the rest of that video, so we're just gonna do it from my little editing basement. What I was trying to say is you want to be physically in the same room with someone and assist them, because that'll help you just kind of unlock a whole bunch of different things that you wouldn't otherwise have access to. So that's maybe assisting on larger shoots with bigger productions that you've never really had access to, or these little things that you don't necessarily, write out or think of, like, okay, let's have a little questionnaire one-on-one, sir. Can I take some of your time? But if you're providing value and you're in the same room with someone and you're just kind of happen to ask a question, or you're sweeping up and you find out that, oh, that's how they do this certain thing which helps with their organization, which saves them 15 minutes down the line. Whatever those little things are, you pick up those little things by being in the room with these people. You pick up these little things by actually being there and providing value, and that's how you can pick up some value back for yourself. It's not just prying and asking and being like, oh, can I take you to coffee? And like, you taking me to coffee does nothing. It does nothing but take time out of my day. So if I can fit it into my day, sure, that's fine, but it's not something that most photographers are going to want to do, especially if you're just kind of starting out and you're like trying to get as much information as possible. I relate this a lot with the tattooing industry, but it's similar in the tattoo industry because you have that old school apprenticeship mentality of just being there, putting the work in, and just providing as much value and as much of the... It's like you really do have to show that you care for the craft before most tattooers will let you tattoo in their shop. So I think there's like a little bit of this respect that's in that industry that still applies in photography, and I think there was a lot more of that in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and that's probably because at the time it was literal magic to take a photo. There was a lot of skill involved just to even expose an image and to know what you're going to get, whereas nowadays, it's a lot of work just to make it look like your iPhone. So it's just a little bit of a different story, I think, nowadays. But there's still like there's something tangible to providing this value to these people that are kind of a few years ahead of you. And I say this as if I've stopped doing this. Like, I still do this today, like as much as I can. Whenever I have time, I try to learn. It's the best way to kind of just soak up knowledge from this industry that has no real rules and no real rule book. Taking a nice photo is 1% of what we do as career photographers. And I think understanding how to take an image has to almost be second nature. Like, we have to constantly be just trying out new things and learning new things, and that's just part of how we think. But when it comes to business, there's a little bit more of an analytical approach, and there's a little bit more of a, oh, that's how you get new clients. Oh, that's how you pick up new, momentum for your business. By assisting and by being in the room with these photographers, you can just learn all these little nuances that you won't pick up from, these YouTube videos. And when you're one-on-one with someone, it's just a whole different story. Easy tangent, I guess, is just that I'm sure there was a few of you guys who have reached out and who wanted these one-on-one calls with me, and I have provided a link down in the description for you guys if you are interested in having a little bit of a mentorship or a little portfolio review or something by me. But I don't think that it provides nearly as much value as a local photographer in your area who will be able to genuinely take you on as oh, wow, you're clearly trying to be a photographer. It's cool that there's a lot, of desire in you to want to learn, and so much so that you're willing to provide your time and your effort to someone else in the industry who can always use it. It'll let you grow as a photographer a whole lot more than if you, let's say, don't do it. I think one of the things that a lot of entry-level photographers, and even certain, photographers, veteran photographers, let's say, like a trap that many of us fall into, or many people fall into, is just this thought of scarcity. There's only so many clients and there's only so many jobs, so if there's more photographers, then it means there's less money in my pockets. It's just the wrong mentality to have. It's not even that accurate either. Like, it's nothing but beneficial to help other photographers succeed, because the more that there is success in this industry, the more the industry grows as a whole. Think of it as like a economy within photography, whereas our economy will grow the more photographers there are. It just ends up happening as a win-win. It's not having 12 other wedding photographers who are competing for the same amount of weddings. You'll see that there's going to be more and more opportunities that open up for you. And from opportunities, from being with these people, you end up growing your network. When you're assisting these people in your neighborhood, you have access to all of these people and all of these, maybe shoots that you wouldn't have otherwise access to, which means that grows your network and that grows your name in this community, in this industry, in your local area. These are things that I can't do as a one-on-one call for you, but it's something that you can do by putting that work in. It has nothing to do with how good you are at taking photos. It's about how willing you are to put yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, doing the right handshakes. I know it sucks, but it's how human nature is. We all have this need for connection, and that's what trumps every other skill you might have. When I have an extra shoot, or when I have a brief that lands on my desk that's like, oh, can you do this for me? And I'm like, oh no, it's out of my budget, or I don't have time, or whatever it is. I think of the people who've assisted me in order to give that job off to. I don't think of some random person who sent me a DM one time. I think of the people who were there with me and have helped me out at one point or another, and I could be like, hey, would you like a little bit of help from my end as much as I can do it for you? So that's how you can grow as a photographer. That's how you can really, engage in the neighborhood and in your community as a working, active photographer. Put that work into your network and into growing the, just your name and your reputation as a photographer. There's just no shortcut in photography, and in many, many fields, really. But there's just really no shortcut in photography other than the time it takes to build those connections, build the relationships. And while you're doing that, your actual photography, your photo taking skills will get better, just because of you're in this state, you're in this mentality of always trying to get better and be better for yourself, that'll be what you need to be a better photographer, and that's what's going to help you have more money in your pockets, land more clients, etc., etc. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the whole switch up. I'll explain all this at some point. I'll see you guys in a couple days. Later.